When I got engaged to Mark, I was over the moon. We'd been together for years, and finally, after all our ups and downs, he popped the question. We wanted a small, intimate wedding. Just family and close friends. Nothing huge, but beautiful, personal, and meaningful. We booked a lovely, historical estate with gardens that would be perfect for the ceremony and reception. Everything was coming together, and I couldn't wait. My younger sister, Emma, on the other hand, wasn't thrilled. When we announced the engagement, she faked a smile, then immediately steered the conversation toward herself, mentioning how she was probably the next to get engaged and hoping she'd get a bigger ring. I shrugged it off. Emma had always been the kind of person who wanted attention, who always needed the spotlight. But we were family, and I wanted to be kind and supportive. About a month before my wedding, Emma's boyfriend proposed. She was overjoyed, of course, and immediately dove into planning her engagement party. She booked a big venue, ordered lavish decorations, and kept reminding everyone about her upcoming, fabulous event. She even joked to me, "You don't mind if I steal a little thunder from your wedding, right?" I laughed it off at first, but as the days went on, I started feeling like her joke was serious. Then, just 1 week before my wedding, I got a frantic call from Emma. "Sophia," she wailed. "My engagement venue canceled on me. They double-booked, and now I have nowhere to go." She was sobbing, going on about how everything was ruined and how she couldn't believe this was happening to her. I sighed, knowing where this was going, but hoping I was wrong. "That's awful, Emma. I'm really sorry." After a long pause, she asked, "Could I maybe use your wedding venue for the engagement party? Just the night before your wedding? I mean, it would be perfect." My stomach dropped. I'd spent months planning every detail of my wedding, and the idea of her turning my venue into her engagement party the night before felt wrong. But I could feel her desperation, and a part of me didn't want to be the sister who said no. After talking to Mark, who was also hesitant but understanding, I agreed. "All right, Emma. You can use the venue, but you have to promise, to leave everything exactly how you found it." She practically squealed with relief. "Thank you." "Oh my God. Thank you, Sophia. I'll make sure it's perfect. You won't even know we were there." But I had an uneasy feeling about it, and I should have trusted my gut. The night of her engagement party, I decided to drop by the venue to check on things. I walked in and my heart sank. The elegant, minimal decorations I had planned for my wedding were gone. In their place were neon balloons, giant "Congrats, Emma" signs, disco lights, and tacky gold streamers. The whole venue looked like a high school prom, not the romantic, classic setting I had envisioned.
"Emma,"
I called out, furious, searching the crowded room until I found her. She was laughing with her friends, a cocktail in hand, looking like she didn't have a care in the world. She turned to me with a wide smile. "Sophia, isn't it amazing? Everyone's loving the decorations. Emma, you promised you'd leave everything exactly how I planned for my wedding. Where are my floral centerpieces? My candles?" I could barely contain my anger. She rolled her eyes. "Oh, calm down. We're going to put everything back. Don't worry. Besides, I just added a little flair to make it more fun. Your setup was nice, but a little boring, you know?" My hands clenched. "Emma, this isn't about your flair or fun. This is my wedding. You're treating it like it's some kind of blank canvas for you to play with." She gave me a dismissive wave and went back to her guests, leaving me fuming. I wanted to rip down every decoration right there, but I told myself to hold back. I didn't want to cause a scene, not yet anyway. The next morning, the day of my wedding, I arrived at the venue bright and early, hoping to set things right before the ceremony. But when I walked in, I was greeted with a horrifying sight. Emma's decorations were still everywhere. There were empty cups and plates scattered around, the tables were a mess, and the entire place looked like it hadn't been cleaned at all. I felt tears well up in my eyes. This was my wedding day, and the venue was a disaster. I called Emma, barely holding back the anger in my voice. "Emma, you were supposed to clean everything up last night. You swore you'd leave it perfect for my wedding." She yawned into the phone, sounding groggy. "Relax, Sophia. We're on our way, okay? I just had a late night. You're on your way? You were supposed to be here hours ago. She sighed. Fine, I'll be there soon. Just calm down. It's not the end of the world. But it was the end of the world, to me anyway. This was supposed to be my special day, and she had turned it into a complete nightmare. I called Mark, who was at the hotel, and he came over to help me clean up as much as we could. But it was hopeless. By the time Emma showed up, the ceremony was only an hour away. Oh, wow, she said when she walked in, surveying the mess. Looks like things got a little out of hand last night. I was done being nice. Emma, get out. I don't want you here. You've ruined enough. She gave me a look, half shocked and half indignant.
What?
Are you serious? Dead serious. You treated my wedding venue like it was your personal playground. You disrespected everything I asked of you. Emma tried to argue, but I didn't let her. I went to the venue manager, who was sympathetic to my situation, and I made a decision. I canceled Emma's reservation for her upcoming party that she had scheduled at this same venue next weekend. Then, I called her caterer, her DJ, and every vendor I could think of to cancel her bookings. Lastly, I texted every guest she had invited, telling them that her party was no longer happening. Emma was furious, of course. She called me, screaming, but I didn't care. I'd tried to be kind, tried to accommodate her, and she'd taken advantage of me at every turn. This was the price for her selfishness. The wedding itself was chaotic, but with the help of my friends and family, we managed to salvage it. Mark and I said our vows, surrounded by those who truly cared about us, and in the end, it was a beautiful day. I refused to let Emma's selfishness ruin what mattered most. After the wedding, I thought I could finally put everything behind me, but Emma wasn't done. She launched a social media tirade, posting about how I'd ruined her engagement and humiliated her in front of everyone. Friends and family reached out, confused, wanting to know what had happened. So, for the first time, I told them everything: the ruined venue, the disrespect, the dirty tricks. Most people were shocked, but some weren't surprised. Apparently, Emma had pulled similar stunts in the past, pushing boundaries and acting entitled whenever she wanted something. A few people even reached out to apologize for ever doubting me, saying they'd had their suspicions about her behavior for years. In the weeks following the wedding, things between Emma and me were tense. She refused to speak to me directly, communicating only through cryptic social media posts and passive-aggressive messages relayed through family. But instead of feeling hurt or guilty, I felt relieved. For once, I'd stood up for myself and taken action to protect something that mattered deeply to me. Eventually, our parents tried to mediate, urging us to sit down and talk things through. "She's your sister," my mom insisted. "Family is family, Sophia. You two need to make up." I stared at her, incredulous. "Mom," I gave her chance after chance. She didn't just cross a line. She stomped all over it. How am I supposed to forgive that? Mom sighed. "I understand, but you're both grown women. Just try to move past it." But I knew I couldn't just sweep it under the rug, not this time. Emma had shown me who she truly was, and I couldn't unsee it. In the end, Mark and I continued on with our lives, focusing on our future and the family we wanted to build. As for Emma, she stayed bitter for a while, but eventually, even she moved on, finding new people to entertain her endless drama. We remained polite but distant, and though part of me missed the closeness we once shared, I knew I'd done the right thing by standing up for myself. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is to say no to family. But that day, I'd learned that my happiness and peace were worth fighting for, even if it meant letting go of people who refused to respect me.